Good morning, security gang. Welcome back to a festive CyberHub podcast. The background here is absolutely fantastic. Very, very Christmassy this morning. Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas Eve, I shall say. Thank you all for tuning in. James Azar here. I'm the host, also a Chief Information Security Officer. Thank you for tuning in to this morning's podcast. We've got a packed one for all of y'all today, including Aflac confirming a 2.2 million person breach, a critical MongoDB CVE that's leaking memory without authentication. You may want to take care of that before you head out for the break. Nova Scotia Power's incident report showing how paperwork IT is jamming real operations. Shinhan card says 192,000 merchants had data exposed. And then Kuishu's AI-driven live stream attack. We'll talk about that. And the FCC's foreign drone ban. All that, plus a U.S. takedown of a bank account takeover ring, Italy finding Apple, and ServiceNow buying Armis. For a Christmas Eve, it's a busy day. It's a busy show. I hope you all are ready. Join me this morning for a coffee cup cheers. I've got my double espresso. And look at that foam. Again, I always have to mention the foam because it really is a work of art. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. Before we start, though, CyberHubPodcast.com, exclusive contents available there. Tomorrow, no show, Christmas Day. Friday, we'll have our summary. Saturday, a new article, a brand new article. The one you're seeing right now on the screen, if you're watching, is the CISO Skill Challenge, a decade of evolving competencies. Today, this weekend, I'm going to be talking about how CISOs roles have evolved in terms of where do CISOs go when they're done. So when they're done CISOing, what's that career path look like after being a CISO? So that'll be available Saturday morning. So go tune into that, cyberhubpodcast.com. Let's go ahead. The reason you're tuning in, folks, 22 million people affected. Sorry, I said 2.2. Sorry, it's 22 million people were impacted in the June data breach that affected Aflac. Aflac saying documents stolen in June contained claims data, social security numbers, and even other PII for customers, beneficiaries, employees, and agents across its U.S. business. No ransomware operations continue. There was no ransomware operations did continue, but the identity blast radius is massive for this one. Everyone's getting notifications plus 2 years of monitoring. Regulators in Texas estimate around 2 million residents were impacted by this, and a total of 22.7 million people were impacted all in all. Law enforcement is engaged with this one, with the targeting being scattered spider, simply because it meets that MO. You should be, look, Tim Callahan, CISO at Aflac, his team, very capable. Tell you, and I haven't spoken to Tim about this, but I'm pretty sure I know what they're monitoring right now. One, spikes in password resets. They're looking at claim redirects and contact detail changes from the breached cohorts. All of that is probably on their list of how they're monitoring to see any impact from this specific data breach. All right, for those who don't know, Kwaiashu is a kind of a TikTok competitor in China. Never heard of him until last night. Never heard of him. Don't really care. Wasn't a really big deal for me. Blessed Christmas to everyone. Thank you, David. It's very kind of you. But what happened to them is indicative of what AI could do. So they were hit by an AI live stream flood of just AI accounts. Roughly 17,000 bot accounts blasted illicit streams in 90 minutes. Overwhelming moderation, which was human owned, and forcing a temporary live stream shutdown on this. Now, this is a case study at scale. Automated abuse versus content platforms. Now, this is happening in content moderation. Imagine this happening in your environment where your SOC has to manually open these tickets. And your SOC's manually opening tickets while AI is generating stuff that's happening 1,000 times a minute. Humans can't keep up. Earlier this week and last week, I said something about my AI versus your AI versus his AI versus that AI versus that AI. And that's the world we're heading to. because as attackers start to really build AI tools, humans can't keep up. So we have to have our own AIs to defend it. We've got to have an AI to essentially check off on compliance, as well as be able to prove for audit, because threat actors don't have that, but we do as practitioners. So that's why I said it's your AI versus this AI versus that AI and that AI, and a lot of AI around it. AI for everyone this Christmas. Here's AI for you, and AI for you, and AI for you. But if you're building consumer features, you should be assuming bot ops at scale. And we often on the show talk about the fact that, when Twitter takes down a bunch of bots, or Facebook announces that they've taken out a bunch of bots, that's essentially what they're working against, right? So these bot accounts may look good, they may seem very, very, useful, whatever the case may be for platform numbers, but at the end of the day, they're just sleeper cells sitting on your platform for a moment attack. And this is exactly what happened to TikTok's competitors there. Velocity caps on new accounts and risk-based gating should be there for streaming APIs. The fact that they didn't have it also shows you their lack of maturity. Again, they broadcast pornographic material and violent material. It was a 90-minute siege that bypassed all of their security systems and compromised user data, forcing a total shutdown of the app's live streaming section. So that's the news from China there. The South Korea-based Shinhan impacted 192,000 merchants, affected with some insider misconduct there. Shinhan Card says an employee at a sales branch exfiltrated merchant data to a recruiter. Scope included 180,000 phone numbers and 8,000 records with names and phones. The firm notified the PIPC and blocked the internal process used. You should be, again, insider threats are getting more and more in the news daily, folks. So the breach, again, an employee just taking data, and this is where we kind of go down the path of least privilege access. Why would an employee at a sales branch have access to all of your data? There's no logical reason for it. None whatsoever. No logical reason, except that they weren't doing least privilege. That's it. So a data breach, that's not a data breach, that's an insider attack, because you didn't segment your data. And it's a rough exercise to segment data. It's a rough exercise because you ask everyone, and everyone wants access to everything, because we need access to everything to do our jobs. No, you don't. You need access to what you need to do your job based on your job description. Every now and then you need access to other stuff. That's just-in-time access. We'll allow that access based on the business use case for a very limited part of time, and you can't exfiltrate anything out of there. You could research, you could look at it. If you need to take it out, we need to understand why. To enhance the business, to support the business. That wasn't the case there. Not at all. All right, Nova Scotia Power. We talked about this earlier this year. Now they finally released their incident report, which has a lot of redactions, by the way. It's as redacted as the Epstein report. I haven't tried the TikTok Epstein hack, where if you actually copy and paste off of the DOJ website and then put it in a Word doc, the redaction goes away, which is true. Done it. That's sloppy. That's sloppy work there from the DOJ. The incident report submitted to the Professional Energy Board, underscoring a familiar theme for a lot of these breaches: an IT side event, email, coordinated systems, slowing real-world utility workflows. Even if their OT kept running, their IT came to a full stop in all of their business processes as such. Considered proof that work order, lab results, vendor access are all operational choke points. So there's a lot in this report, by the way. The company considers that its response to the incident, encompassing containment, remediation, and investigation, was effective and executed in a very timely and highly coordinated manner, like they would say anything otherwise. But they did do a pretty decent job of recovering there. Obviously, we saw immediate attacks and billing attacks on people who were bullied out of money. Defrauded out of money, not bullied, but defrauded out of money. I should have chosen a better word there. So a few things for all of those in critical infrastructure. You have to segment your IT and OT. You got to gate vendor your remote access behind a VPN, an MFA, and an IP allow list. Should be keeping offline gold images for engineer laptops, and you should be rehearsing manual and alternate procedures for dispatch and approval given if that had to be shut down altogether. So, Nova Scotia lessons learned. FCC's banning foreign-made drones and components. The FCC adding certain foreign-made drones and key parts to the covered list, tightening approvals on national security grounds. You should be expecting procurement and compliance repercussions for public sector and regulated work that rely on UAVs for inspections. You should now, immediately after the holidays, inventory your fleet and plan approved replacements and data handling controls for your drones. Again, the FCC really coming down on this one. The agency essentially now supporting the National Defense Authorization Act, which part of those components shouldn't be coming from that part of the world. So again, there's a whole bunch, but it's primarily Chinese drones and components, just so y'all know. All right, before you head out for Christmas today, this MongoDB CVE 2025-14847, which is a zlib pre-authentication memory disclosure vulnerability, is something that requires your immediate attention if you're on MongoDB. The critical flaw in the zlib compression lets a client extract uninitialized heap memory from servers without authentication, risking leakage of sensitive records or even keys. It's been fixed in versions 8.2.3, 8.0.17, 7.0.28, 6.0.27, 5.0.32, and 4.4.30. Workarounds is to disable the zlib and use Snappy or ZSTD until patched. The impact could span major trains down to 3.6, 4.0, and 4.2, so patch to the listed versions I just said. And if you can't turn off the zlib network compression now to reduce that there as well. Threat actors, according to, are using Word and PDF lores that are AV themed. The campaign uses security tool themed documents to deliver loaders. They block, you want to be blocking unsigned macros and alert on Office script or LOL bin chains like WScript, Mashta, PowerShell, spawning post download. This specific attack course taking place against Israeli companies, according to Secret Labs. When victims open the disguised files, they unknowingly download harmful malware hidden behind a brand name there as well. And again, this is primarily targeting Israeli companies. So it's got some political aspect there to it as well. The U.S. disruption of a Web3 adspanel.org, a bank account takeover operation, the DOJ seizing a domain plus database used to manage stolen credentials harvested through fake search ads, spoofing banks. Investigators cite 14.6 million in confirmed losses at least 19 victims. That number could be around 28 million, but they know 14.6 is confirmed at a 19 victims, by the way. Visitors to the C site are now greeted with law enforcement splash pages announcing the takedown. The group behind the scheme did bribe fraudulent ads on major search engines, including Google and Bing, designed to closely mimic legitimate sponsored links from well-known banks. Users who clicked on the ads believed they were being redirected to their bank's website, but were instead routed to counterfeit pages controlled by the criminals. The seizure is part of a broader crackdown there as well. And again, just paying attention would go a long way. Would really, really go a long way. Italy fining Apple $116 million over App Store tracking / privacy. The regulators say the ATT rules and self-preferencing harmed competition in ad tracking. Apple plans to appeal it. So that's there. ATT requires developers to request consent to collect their data for targeted advertising before tracking them across websites, apps, and services owned by other companies. Apple didn't introduce this. Whenever you download an app, says ask app not to track. So essentially that what they're saying is, what the regulators are saying is, app developers can't track, but Apple is still tracking. So it gives them a heads up in advertising. And that's violating the privacy rules because people are asking the app not to track. So, but Apple's own apps don't do that. They track natively. So that's the argument there. And that's where the fine is coming from. It's a good argument made by the Italians. You know me, I'm not a big fan of regulators. But I think in this one, they're actually calling out a hypocrisy within the policy, which, you know, Apple will appeal, and we'll see how that plays out. We'll keep monitoring it. The big news, folks, ServiceNow buying Armis for $7.75 billion in cash. Congratulations, Nadir, Yevgeny, and team at Armis, Carlos, and everyone there. Platform consolidation play here, OT, IoT, medical device visibility, and risk into workflows and AI-assisted SOC. ServiceNow doubling down on the fact that they want to be that company. So there will be some overlap depending on how this goes. Armis did abandon their IPO plans in favor of this acquisition. So this is a big one. Armis recently announced a $435 million round in what was described a pre-IPO round. All in all, they raised around $1.17 billion. And their latest founding round had them at $6.1 billion. Over the past 2 years, they also acquired 3 additional companies, CTCI, Silk Security, and Atorio. So the acquisition announcement comes shortly after ServiceNow confirmed their agreement to acquire Visa Security also. So ServiceNow is coming into the security business. Welcome, ServiceNow. I hope you're ready for the big time. On the IT side, you pretty much had the market. You're not going after security. Good luck. Acquisitions help. We'll see how this all plays out into the ServiceNow platform, because ideally all this should be streamlined in the platform. That what marketing people love to say, single pane of glass. That's it for our show this morning, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. Merry Christmas to everyone celebrating. I hope you get to enjoy your time with your families and loved ones. And no matter what, the holiday season is about being kind to others and helping others. So please consider being helpful and kind to people you see. Yes, it's a crazy time of year, but it's a joyful time of year. People are cheer, happy. It's good. Weather in Georgia is perfect. So if you're in the Southeast, go enjoy the 70-degree weather. If you're somewhere where it's really, really cold, I'm jealous. I miss the snow. Thank you all for tuning in. Show will be back Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Until then, have a great, great Christmas. Have a great rest of your week. And most importantly, y'all, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.